Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. On this channel, I'll be sharing the teachings of the Catholic faith that I've learned through PrEP, short for the Parish Religious Education Programme, which provides Catholic teachings for youth, and RCIA, the Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults, which offers faith formation for adults. The contents will also include my personal insights, reflections, and experiences as I continue developing a deeper relationship with God. This is the first video in which I begin to share and teach the faith here on YouTube. So on this channel, you'll find videos about Catholic teachings, what Catholic activities and communities are like, and why forming a personal relationship with God is so important. I'll also post some fun, casual content like traveling activities, such as when I visit theme parks or other different kinds of trips. The main purpose of this channel is to share and explore the beauty of the Catholic faith, while also having a little fun along the way. Here is the topic for this video. We will remind ourselves and look deeply into the story of the Prodigal Son, how my testimony can relate to the story, letting go of sin, how we can come home to God, what do we mean by being called to be free and accept God's grace. I've decided to make this a two-part video so it won't be too long. In this first part, we'll explore two topics: the parable of the prodigal son and how my personal testimony reflects how we, as humans, can relate to that story. Throughout this video, you'll encounter questions that you should try to answer before moving on. When they appear, feel free to pause the video, take a moment to reflect, and then continue. This way, you can engage more actively with the content while learning. Now, let's start with the story of the prodigal son. A father had two sons. The younger one asked his father to divide the inheritance between him and his older brother. The older son was always obedient, but the younger son was often disobedient. After receiving his share, the younger son left home and began wasting his inheritance on worldly things. What are considered worldly things? These refer to materialistic pursuits, such as idolizing possessions, chasing status, pleasure, and relationships, essentially anything where a person places their joy and value in the temporary things of this world. Now, back to the story. After spending all his money on empty pleasures, a famine hit the land. The younger son had nothing left and couldn't support himself. He became so desperate that he took a job feeding pigs. He was so hungry that he considered eating the pigs' food rather than going hungry. At this point, the younger son began to feel deep guilt. He realized he had used the money his father gave him unwisely. He remembered that even his father's servants had more food than he did. While he was starving, he came to understand that it would be better to return home and work as a servant than continue living in misery. He began to show regret and humility. When the younger son returned home, how did the father respond? And how do you think the son felt as he approached his father after everything he had done? On his way home, we can imagine the younger son felt ashamed and expected his father to reject him. He was probably preparing himself for the worst. But surprisingly, no. The father was overjoyed when he saw his son coming home. He ran to him and told his servants to clothe him. He said, "Quickly, bring out a robe, the best one, and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet, and get the fattened calf and kill it. Let us eat and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." And they began to celebrate. It was a joyful reunion marked by love, forgiveness, fine clothes, and a feast. The father did not hold a grudge. Instead, he welcomed his son home with open arms. But how did the older brother react? He felt it was unfair. After all, the younger son had disobeyed their father, yet he was welcomed back with lavish gifts. The father spoke to him gently and said, "Son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours." It was right to celebrate and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. Luke 15:11-32. This parable is a classic example of what our relationship with God looks like. I'd like to share my testimony to show how a person's life can reflect this story, because in many ways, the journey of the prodigal son is one we experience repeatedly throughout our lives. First, I grew up with only a small connection to the Catholic faith, because not both of my parents are Catholic. My dad is Catholic, but my mum is Buddhist. My dad had me baptized when I was a baby, but I never received the sacrament of confirmation. There were many times when I came close to becoming a consistent, practicing Catholic, but worldly pleasures always got in the way and blinded me from God's reach. When I was sad, I turned to my favorite shows for comfort. When I faced problems, I went to my parents or tried to solve them on my own. I always looked for help in the world, but I never truly brought God into the picture. I gave him only a small piece of my heart, if anything at all. My life became centered around worldly things. It's just like the prodigal son, walking away from the father, believing he could live the perfect life without his father, aka God. Then, in the materialistic world I had started to live in, a traumatic event happened that changed me forever. I used to be someone who felt emotions deeply, poetic, full of hobbies, always smiling, you name it. But after the traumatic event, I fell into a deep depression and became someone completely different. I turned into a workaholic. I lost interest in my hobbies, stopped interacting with friends and family, leaving them confused, and became extremely serious all the time. I barely smiled, and my expression was always blank. People even said I talked and acted like a robot. Even today, I still have to continue to work my way through understanding how to heal from this depression phase. Anyways, work and school were all I knew. I had no space for sympathy. Only hatred and anger filled the void in my heart. The trauma I experienced was so personal and painful that I couldn't tell anyone, so I carried it completely alone. This was the point where I truly fell, trying to live in a world without God. Just like the younger son in the parable, who lost everything after chasing worldly pleasures, I too found myself empty and broken after trying to live life on my own terms, apart from the Father. One day, during my depression, a show called The Chosen came out. I was hesitant to watch it, but I gave in out of curiosity, mostly because it had been so long since I'd watched anything at all. I forced myself to sit through the first episode, and to my surprise, it stirred something deep inside me. It brought back memories of what it felt like when God was close. I began to feel ashamed and regretful for how I had treated God and the people around me. That was when I started going to church again. I realized that only God could truly heal me and guide me through my struggles. So I made a decision. I would commit to Him by seeking the support I needed to finally receive the sacrament of confirmation. After so many times where God tried to reach out to me, He finally succeeded on the day I was confirmed and became a practicing Catholic. This was the moment I truly became like the younger son in the parable. The moment of realization that I was always better off with God than chasing after the empty promises of the world. The more I tried to chase pleasure within the world, the more I feel broken. Finally, I felt the love and grace of God. One night, during adoration, I lifted all my worries and troubles to Him. In that moment, His presence felt so vast and powerful that His comfort alone gave me the strength to keep going, trusting fully in His timing. That was the moment I was truly and permanently reunited with God after being away for so long. God's grace is like the embrace of the Father in the parable, the one who welcomed and celebrated his younger son's return with open arms. Of course, I continue to experience ups and downs in my relationship with God, but He never gives up on me. He continues to forgive me time and time again. Our relationship with God is like that of a husband and wife who live together for many years. Some couples manage to stay happy and grow old together because they choose to keep nurturing their relationship and forgive each other hundreds, even thousands of times. Relationships are never easy. It's normal to face conflicts, but it's through those challenges that we come to understand each other more deeply and grow stronger together. That's it for the first part of this topic. Take some time to reflect if you need to. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, feel free to leave a comment, but please remember to be respectful of others. The second part of the video will be coming out very soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for your support and have a great rest of your day.